Wanda? Where is Geraldine?
Oh, she left, honey. She had to rush home.
What? What is it? What's wrong? We don't have to stay here. We could go wherever we want.
No, we can't. This is our home.
Are you sure?
Oh, don't worry, darling. I have everything under control.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome again to my channel, Film Flicks and Comics, where we talk all things movies, TV and comics, and of course, Marvel and everything related to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And today, we're doing a weekly recap of Marvel's WandaVision. Episode 4 just hit, so let's get to it. The first 3 episodes of WandaVision jump from decade to decade as Wanda and Vision lived a lovely sitcom life together in the idyllic and bizarre town of Westview. Last week's episode left us with the biggest hint yet about Westview's true nature, when Wanda kicked Geraldine out of the lovely sitcom town for mentioning her twin brother Pietro and his killer Ultron. Although up to that point, the show hasn't revealed Geraldine's identity, Marvel Studios hasn't exactly kept it a secret. The episode starts with Monica and some other people materializing back in a hospital. We finally get on-screen confirmation that Geraldine is actually Monica Rambeau, also known as Lieutenant Trouble, previously seen as a child in the 90s set Captain Marvel. In fact, you even hear some snippet of Carl Danvers' voice in the background as Monica materializes from the blip. The episode gives us a flashback revealing Monica vanished in Avengers Infinity War snap, just after her mom Maria had surgery to remove cancer. She rushes into the corridor where other people are appearing out of thin air. There's confusion everywhere. She rushes to everyone she sees, asking about her mother. Eventually, a doctor recognizes her and told her the truth about her mom dying because the cancer came back, and more importantly, that she died 3 years ago, 2 years after she disappeared from the snap. Although this is not the first time we've seen everyone blipping back because of the events in Avengers Endgame, this is the first time we've witnessed the gravity of the chaos. Spider-Man Far From Home took a really light and funny approach in giving us a sense of what was happening when everyone was brought back. We saw the marching band reappear in the middle of a basketball game, causing some comedic awkward scenarios. But the opening scene in the episode showed us the enormity of everything. After teasing us with the logo for the past 3 episodes, including all the trailers and teasers, S.W.O.R.D is revealed in this episode. The Sentient Weapon Observation and Response Division is a US intelligence agency set up by Maria Rambeau to monitor threats and potential allies from the space. Except it shifted focus during Monica's absence to robotics, nanotech, AI, and sentient weapons creations, as we later found out. Monica arrives with S.W.O.R.D, but her keycard doesn't let her enter into the building. Just as she was going to be confronted by a sarcastic security guard, the new director, rather acting director Tyler Howard, recognizes her and offers to bring her up to speed. It's 3 weeks after the blip, and Monica's the first to return to work. In their conversation, we found out that her mother Maria was one of the pioneers who started S.W.O.R.D, just like how Agent Carter was one of the pioneers of its Earthbound counterpart S.H.I.E.L.D. This is another nod to Marvel's recognition of how powerful and strong women are in this world. The 2 women both co-founded 2 of the most important organizations in the MCU. Acting director Tyler also points out that the world is not the same, referring to threats in outer space. She counters though by saying that it's always been the case, but there's a lot of allies out there too, most probably referring to our currently known non-Earthbound heroes like Thor, the Guardians, the Good Skrulls, and of course, Captain Marvel. Limited by the very directive of her mother, ruling out non-terrestrial missions in case the vanished personnel comes back, she was assigned to pilot an imaging drone upon the request of the FBI because of a missing persons case in New Jersey. As it turns out, the real stars of the episode are astrophysicist Darcy Lewis and FBI agent Jimmy Woo, who we last saw in Thor, The Dark World, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, respectively. These pair are basically us, the audience, as they try to figure out what's going on while watching Wanda and Vision exist in a sitcom on a vintage TV. Monica arrives on the outskirts of Westview. She's greeted by FBI agent Wu, who magically flicks his calling card. Definitely a trick learned from Scott Lang and the online close-up Magic University in Ant-Man and the Wasp. He explains that he got a witness set up in the Witch's protection scheme down the road in Westview and nobody can find him. In fact, none of his associates or relatives have even heard of him. To make things even weirder, the local sheriff tells them that the town of Westview doesn't exist, so the one missing person case balloons to a missing town case. Monica suggests going inside to investigate, but Agent Wu says, "It doesn't want me to." Monica then activates her drone, and as soon as it enters, it vanishes along with a video feed from it. She approaches the point where the drone went missing, and as she touches the energy field, she too gets sucked in. Now we can confirm how she became part of the show. Of course, we all know it's Wanda. From the looks of it, Wanda's clearly taken over the town of Westview, and locals have been forced to become actors in the show. The town has also been erased from the memories of those in the area, and both Monica and Jimmy wonders why they aren't affected. 24 hours later, a van drives towards Westview, and among the passengers is our favorite former assistant, now astrophysicist, Dr. Darcy Lewis. They arrive at the S.W.O.R.D response base, where Darcy figures out the cosmic microwave background radiation emanating from the town and also the superimposed signal along with it. She runs the signal through some diagnostic equipment and asks for an old TV. And voila! Our WandaVision Episode 1 to 3 unfolds again before our very eyes. Of course, they all get shocked, and Jimmy even made a remark that the universe created a sitcom starring two Avengers. Acting director Hayward wonders if the show is recorded, fabricated, or in real time, as they see Vision in the TV, who everyone knows died before the blip. Darcy says she can't confirm, as all she knows is that the signal is entwined with the radiation. Darcy and Jimmy are totally into the show too, but where we saw interruptions like the radio broadcast and Beekeeper in episode 2, this show just skipped a scene for them. It cuts away when Wanda reacts to any interruptions from the MCU reality, censoring whatever she doesn't like. But going back to the interruptions, this episode also gives us confirmation that it was Jimmy's voice in the radio, and that it was Darcy's idea to use a radio season the episode to bounce off a signal to communicate with Wanda. It also confirmed that the beekeeper-looking guy, Agent Franklin, was a S.W.O.R.D agent sent to infiltrate the town, but he entered the sewers in a radiation suit that shifted into a beekeeper outfit as he passed the barrier. But as we put out a lot of theories out there about why a bee suit, it seems likely that the simplest explanation is that which is simple. The radiation suit simply shifted into something that would fit Wanda's artificial reality. That's probably how Monica got suitable clothes too. It's unclear though if she was aware that it was a show all along. In some instances, she looks completely into the reality, and in some few instances, she seemed so confused that it looked like she was remembering her actual reality. Now that we know what's going on outside, we can now perfectly explain the mystery of the downed helicopter too. A S.W.O.R.D drone that shifted into a helicopter, a retro version of the S.W.O.R.D drone. Why it's colored is a mystery yet to be resolved. The only connection I see is that it's in the same color as Wanda's Chaos Energy and the Reality Stone. Back at the mobile S.W.O.R.D HQ, Darcy and Jimmy are watching the 70s episode of the show. That's episode 3. Wanda gives birth in the episode and Monica makes that unexpected reference to Ultron killing Wanda's brother Pietro. And at cue, an alarm sounds, warning the base that the boundary has been breached. After Wanda flings Monica out for trying to give her a dose of reality, she briefly sees Vision as a grey walking corpse with a big hole in his head from where Thanos ripped out the Mind Stone in the climax of Infinity War. It's horrifying, and probably hints at how fragile Wanda's reality is. It also seems likely that Vision is still dead, especially after Vision suggests that they should leave Westview. Wanda politely refuses, however, saying it's their home, responding with tears in her eyes, suggesting that Westview reality is the only place she can keep Vision alive. She ends the scene with a statement that she has everything under control. One pickup of this scene though was Vision's ever-changing facial expression. His face would look extremely serious and worrying when Wanda's not looking, but it shifts back to normal when she and Wanda converses. Does he know he's dead? Is he aware that they're living in a made-up reality? I believe answers will be coming out in the next episode. Outside the bubble, we see Monica being attended to by medical personnel. She seemed distraught and the only words that came out of her was, "It's Wanda. It's all Wanda." Is it though? Wanda is seemingly getting what she wants. But could she be under someone else's influence? Most of the townspeople's identities were accounted for on Darcy and Jimmy's board, as was shown mid-part of this episode. Agnes came up on the board without any last name and without any identification, unlike the rest. Dolly Jones and Ralph, Agnes's husband, however, are conspicuously absent, although he's been mentioned multiple times. It's possible that one of these people is the puppet master controlling Wanda. My theory is that everything in Wanda's reality that she manifests through her powers are actually true and not just imagination, and that's including her children. And following some guidelines in the House of M storyline, it could be that she was manipulated to create this reality so she can have powerful children and that the puppet master, whoever he or she is, wants her children. WandaVision Episode 4 really went all in exposition, and it was what everyone was hoping for. Although a lot of questions were unanswered, it also doubled down on the reveals as it just asked as many questions as it answered. Is Wanda really in control? If not, who's controlling her? Whatever happened to Franklin, the B guy? Is Vision in the know? Also, a quick look at Jimmy's board reveals more questions. What's the significance of the hexagonal shape? The one other theory that I have that links most of the unanswered question is that Vision is partly in the know. Although he's technically dead, a part of his consciousness lives within the powers of Wanda, which she got from experimentation with the Mind Stone, the exact stone that Vision wore and which part of the construct of his consciousness came from. Although I enjoy the comical sitcom setting the past episodes, deep inside, I was really hoping to get back to my good old MCU. Although I know we're still missing the 80s part of the sitcom, as we saw in the trailers, it's a comforting thought that the MCU as I know it is back. Thank you guys for watching my video, and we're all looking forward to episode 5. If you liked the video, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you again, and until the next video.